Hello everyone, Nick here with McGaughys Suspension. I know I say it every time because every time it's exciting to get another truck here on the videos, but this one is definitely something different than what we've been able to show previously. So I'm pretty excited because every time I get excited is because I get a lot of people that are messaging and reaching out and asking about their particular truck, and there's more and more combinations that people are asking about. So the more that I get diversity, I get excited because then I get to show something different that someone's been looking for and asking questions. And this time, this is a GMC, a Denali Ultimate 2025, just like we've seen in the past. But the difference is that this one is a long bed. We have not had a long bed yet on our YouTube channel. And then the other thing is that these wheels are a forged, polished wheel, which we haven't had either. So I've had some people asking, and one of the guys locally here was one that actually, signed up to have this whole package done to their truck, and now here we are, we get to show it off. So real quick, the first shout out is to Brian. Brian owns this truck. We got in contact with each other. He reached out to me. He actually, I don't know if he reached out to me first or to Signature Performance. He's down here in Orange County, Southern California. But regardless, I did talk to him and met him with my truck. He got to ride in my truck, see how that was, and then decided on what to do with his truck. The one main thing that he wanted to do was he wanted to do a long bed, and he didn't want to do black wheels. He wanted to do something different. So Daniel over there, the second person I want to shout out is Daniel and his whole team over at Signature Performance for allowing me, Brian and Daniel, and the whole team for allowing me to go over to their shop, grab this truck, and come out and shoot it for you guys. So without their help, without their authority of letting me do this, I wouldn't be able to bring this video to you. So thanks to them, and thanks to Brian for allowing me to, feature your truck on our YouTube channel. So let's go back to what Brian wanted to achieve. Brian wanted to achieve reservoir shocks. Brian wanted to achieve polished, forged wheels. And we got that here. This is what he wanted. So he hasn't seen the truck yet, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be around when he picks up the truck, but I'm pretty certain after dealing with Brian that this is exactly what he was looking for. So let's start breaking down this whole truck and package and setup and go through, just like we go through on all these other videos, how this one all breaks down. So you, the viewer, truck owner at home, could emulate something similar to this and put your own twist to it with these same products, whether it's the wheels, whether it's the lift, and everything else in between. So 2025 Denali Ultimate long bed, like we said, and it is running on our 4-inch McGaughys lift kit, which there it is, 4-inch cross member that's dropped down. You'll see there, that is the differential skid plate, and we always show off the angles because we're proud of the angles. 4 inches of ride height, and there you go. It's just like your factory truck. Tie rod angles, CV angles, control arm angles, everything is the same, which is a big significance, like we've talked about in previous, is that less angle on any of the components, then the easier it actually functions, because there's no binding, there's no added force when turning or just going over obstacles and what have you. So that is a key feature to our kit. We drop down the front cross member right here. As you can see, you have a upper bolt. That's where the factory control arm used to go. And now you have the drop down 4 inches, exactly new position of the cross member, lower control arm bolt. You'll see those are right over each other, straight up and down. It's an even direct drop, 4 inches. So that signifies that we have no front track width gain like some of the other kits out on the market, which sometimes people are okay with it, but there is times where a lot of people don't want a track width gain. And 1A, it makes the front end wider than the rear, so it looks a little odd. And then the other two is when you get into tire and wheel fitment, when you're doing all your homework and trying to figure out your tire and wheel fitment, well, a track width gain is going to be like going to a wider wheel. So our front track width stays factory, so a lot of the terms that you look up online for wheel and tire dimensions for backspacing and offset and everything, you can stay exactly the same characteristic. You don't have to add any front track width to that equation. So I want to point that out because obviously these trucks, people complain about how much clearance you have when you're turning, which I've been doing these for a long time, and I have to say that the 2024 and newer GMCs and Chevys both have a lot more accommodation for a larger size tire compared to the previous years. I mean, back in the 01 to 10s, 11 to 14, excuse me, all the way 11 to 19, those trucks, 4-inch kit, we're running 35s typically with any type of width wheel, unless it was like on a factory real skinny wheel and sucked in wheel. That's the only time when you usually get anything larger. But now we're running 37 1250s underneath these trucks, and even we have some of these combinations running a 10-inch wide and or possibly a 9-inch wide on a 38 1350. So a lot of different options. All it comes down to is what you're acceptable on making things fit and trimming in that area, and then over on this area right here. So I said this truck is set up at 4 inches. We saw all the angles underneath, and let me tell you what 4 inches comes out to be. These trucks, GMCs 2024 and newers, are 24 inches from the center hub to that fender lip right there. Now the new ride height with our 4-inch kit, because it drops everything down 4 inches from the front diff drop to the lower control arm, and then also our spindle is 4 inches taller. So everything's 4 inches. Now we're sitting at 28 inches from center hub to fender. And just so you guys know, the guys that are owning the Chevy trucks out there, just know that these same measurements that we're talking about on a GMC can be the same on a Chevrolet, except for you just need to accommodate for your wheel arch on your fender. So the Chevrolets, they arch, that's drastic, but they obviously arch, and the arch difference between a GMC and a Chevy is about 3/8 of an inch. So the 28 inches from fender to the center hub on a GMC will become 28 3/8. A stock Chevy is 24 3/8. I got these measurements from going to a bunch of different dealerships and measuring out a bunch of trucks and getting that baseline, let alone the trucks that are coming in for these lift kits. We're doing a spec sheet and specking out how the truck sat previously and then after, and that's how we're getting all our measurements as well. So big key thing is about a 4-inch kit if you want to get all the perfect angles and everything. If you want to achieve a taller truck, a taller stance truck, then accommodate, like if you use our 4-inch kit, you're gonna have to do, if you want to go up to 5 inches, you can do that. You're gonna have to add up control arms and then keys so you can bring up the front end a little bit higher and set up the front end, and then also in the rear you'll have to add shims in the back to bring up the rear. That's a whole nother discussion. If you guys want to get up onto like a 5, 5.5, maybe into the 6-inch range, reach out to me. I can help you set that truck up as well. And if ever that you're trying to go even strictly up to 6 inches, I'm gonna probably suggest that you look at our 7-inch kit. Why stretch out the kit? Just go up to the next taller kit, run it at 7 inches, get all the benefits from it that way. Let's get into this truck, back into it before I get all sidetracked on that. But reach out to me if you want to talk more about that. So set up at 4 inches. These are 37 1250 Nitto Ridge Grapplers, really great tire. They ride great, and a lot of people have been happy with them. We're sitting on an 18x9 method wheel, and this is what they're calling their forged edition bead grip wheel. I won't get really deeply into it because I'm not a wheel guy, but the bead grip allows you to air down and have more grip on the bead on the inside, so then you don't run the risk of blowing the tire off the bead. So that's kind of like the in-between of a standard wheel and then a beadlock wheel, because obviously beadlocks aren't street legal, but this is 100% street legal, and it's a forged wheel, so it's stronger, has more payload availability to it. So again, just if you want to spend the money on the next better wheel other than casts are great wheels too as well, but this is another option on the market which Brian wanted to go with. It's got a great spoke pattern to it, and if you look at it, I mean, it just looks really nice. So, again, just if you want to spend the money on the next better wheel other than cast are great wheels too as well, but this is another option on the market which Brian wanted to go with. It's got a great spoke pattern to it, and if you look at it, I mean, it just looks really nice. So Really nice wheel. I'm super stoked to be showing this truck with this because that wheel matches all this chrome accenting and everything. So really good option. So let's talk about the dimensions on this one. This is a 18x9 and it is a positive 12 offset. Okay, so positive 12 equates to 5.5 backspace, which if you look, it is relatively flush, dropping straight down from that fender lip. So you really don't get much poke at all, but it doesn't look like it's scared, sucked up underneath. You know, again, everyone can build their truck the way that you want to build it. I'm just here to help you out with dimensions to get to where you want to go. So if you want more poke, we can discuss that on the side. If you want to reach out, if you want to suck it in further, we can discuss that too. But this is a 18x9 positive 12 with that equals 5.5 backspace. Okay, what it took to fit these 37 1250s with this wheel combination and offset at 4 inches, not cranked up, just sitting exactly at 4 inches, we are looking at what I would say is a mild trim setup, where you basically trim this lower valance right past the little clip that's on this lower bumper section, and that allows the tire to skip past the inside. It's not really right here. I know you're probably saying, well, man, you cut way too far. Well, you have to, it's kind of hard at this angle, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to curve it down so it doesn't look all weird and whatnot. But the point is that there's more material on the inside that it's being cut off, not necessarily right here. So just note that a lot of people are like, oh, you should be able to clear that, no problem. But it's not just this front side right here. It's the material on the inside of the plastic that you're getting away with as well. So the same thing with the lower bumper, that was also cut out too as well, and basically allows this tire to skip past and basically arch when it's turning past there right there. So it is close, but this right here will allow the suspension to flex and travel and not rub. So there's that too. And then on the inside, the felt inner liner was basically cut closer, about 1.5 inches farther down than the mounting bracket, and then the mounting brackets are bent forward to basically take the felt and push it forward like that. So then again, it just allows for room for the tire to clear and not catch on that felt. So real clean. Yes, it's cut, but it's nothing aggressive, and it's not all gutted out to where it looks weird and funky. But that's, you know, that there. And a lot of people talk about, oh, you know, go to a 10-inch wide wheel. Well, a 10-inch wide wheel is going to be probably about a 4 3/4 backspace, which in the end is probably going to move, let's say, about that much out, give or take. And so the problem is when it's out this far, now as you turn, you run into this bumper, because as you turn, it curves, and it's going to rub there at that point of the bumper. So you only have so far that you can cut into the bumper. We're looking at the driver's side because the driver's side is the biggest casualty of an issue with this plug right here. So just note that when you're trying to get aggressive, there is bumper spacers and stuff like that out there on the market. This one has none of that stuff on it. And then over on the back side here, we have what's called a Fender tieback kit that pushes back the felt and liner and all the bracket back there a little bit further, create space when this tire is turned all the way in. And then this right here is what's called a GMC Mudflap Delete. So these trucks have mud flaps factory that hang down about here. It's all plastic that's incorporated into this fender flare, but these are end caps. This guy Brian went with a 6-piece kit, which did the 2 fronts and on the back side of the front fender, and then it did the fronts and the rears of the rear fender as well, so it looks all nice and neat and tucked. Let's look over here underneath. This is our non-torsion bar drop kit. It maintains the torsion bars in the factory location, so nothing's dropped down like what you would see on other lift kits. So this has, obviously it goes up 4 inches, so you're gaining 4 inches of ground clearance in this area right here when you're going over obstacles. Yes, you do not add any front diff area because obviously it's dropped down, but I like to point out to people that, you know, obviously you don't gain any extra lift out of, I mean, from the tire you do, but not from the lift kit. You don't gain any height out of the rear differential as well, other than the tire. So it is what it is. That's an IFS truck. Even on a you know, straight axle truck, if you would lift up the straight axle truck, you're still not gaining any more ground clearance other than your tire accommodation. So consider that. Let's address probably something I keep on glancing over, and you guys probably start looking at it and seeing it and go back to that, go back to that. Okay, let's just talk about this situation here. So yeah, so this is our reservoir shock, M84 reservoir shock, that depending on when this video goes up, this is going to be new to our website and to our SKU list that will be released in January of 2026. So more than likely you're going to see this in January, but just know that there was a couple that did go out pre-release that we were just testing with, and Signature has been doing a lot of our suspension kits, so they've been a really good authorized dealer of ours to, you know, let us know different things. Like one of the things they pointed out was, hey, can we make the sticker a little bit smaller so it clears the billet cap? So that note has already been sent over to our warehouse, and that's going to be smaller stickers made. So little stuff like that. And then obviously testing ride and everything to get other opinions, a small amount of group of outside opinion. And I just drove it and I like it. It's nice. It's so a reservoir shock, in my opinion, my term, is that it's going to make the ride a little bit firmer but more controlled. One of the other guys that has these shocks said that it was like it changed from the emulsion to the reservoir, it changed it to more of a sports car feel, and I would probably agree with that. It also offers a little bit more dampening. The valving curve is a little bit different on this shock, so you're going to offer a little bit more control when you're going over obstacles. So like going over speed bumps, it's not as squishy. It's got a little bit more control over it than the emulsions. But again, you know, it just depends on what kind of, you know, driving you're going to do and what kind of person you are. If you want the really, really nicest, squishiest, just all around ride quality, the emulsion is a shock that you cannot beat. If you want more control, more overall, just the you know, the reservoir is going to offer its benefits because of a reservoir. So that is just, you know, a quick little, you know, note on statement on what I want to say about these shocks, which at some point here we probably get our engineer involved and get a little bit more technical side of things. I'm more of the layman's side of things, some technical terms, but not trying to overwhelm you guys with engineering terms and stuff like that. Yeah, so let's address the other thing. This is not our upper control arm, and this is a Mazzula off-road upper control arm. Brian just wanted a different look. He wanted more, you know, just more of that off-road look. Not that it's needed. You know, something like this, it has its benefits for more of an off-road type of vehicle. Mazzula does really great with off-road suspension, but when it comes down to these HD trucks are only so good because off-road, because they are a big and heavy. They're technically a tow rig. I mean, that's what a 2500 truck is. So Mazzula does offer these, and Brian decided to go with them, and Signature installed them. So yeah, Mazzula control arms, not ours. I'm not sure if something in the future that we might do for, you know, our product line, but yeah, it's just an option. So that covers the wheels and tires. That covers that top side of the suspension. Just because we have the opportunity to do this, let's walk around here to the back side and talk about something else that is not our product, but this one got it just because obviously if we're walking around this truck, we might as well give you some information about this build that Signature put together for Brian. Brian hauls a pretty good sized trailer, and he opted to go with the LogIQ, the Logic airbags. Sometimes I mix up that name, but it's Logic Air. So 2 bags, really nice setup. I actually have one of these on my truck as well. You see the reservoir back there too. So he did that, did the automatic air compressor and the controller too as well. That's really nice. Let's talk about the rear.
The rear lift is our 1 3/4 rear block, and then obviously you got a U-bolt set up there. And we've had some comments previously about the U-bolts being long. Our U-bolts work for a couple different setups, and let alone, again, depending on what type of customer you are. More of our installs, our guys with these trucks that are doing 4 inches are only going to do the 1 3/4 rear block. But if you want the back end to be up a little bit taller, or you want to go to a larger rear block, you still have enough thread to do that. So it is up to you if you want to cut the excess off or leave it. Again, these trucks aren't like really crazy off-road trucks, so ground clearance, you know, it's up to you. Brian's got some Baja Design S1s, it looks like, here in the rear bumper. That's pretty cool. But yeah, really nice truck. It's got a tonneau cover. Looks like a rollback cover. Again, backflip. Oh, maybe it's a backflip electric cover. Just a really nice build all the way around. Again, I always like to say that people that own these trucks want to use them for truck reasons, not really a show truck type situation. I mean, some guys build show trucks too as well, but this is something that you can very much so drive on a daily basis. You can take the family out, you can go on long trips, you can haul your trailer, haul a boat, haul a toy hauler, any type of toys that you have, and you're not going to diminish any of the load capacity of the truck. The reason why Brian has airbags on the back is because he's got a oversized large trailer that even stock the truck came down in the rear. And let's talk about that real quick. I want to point something out, is that people ask, hey, do you lose load capacity? You don't lose load capacity, but the one thing that you have to identify is that if whatever you're towing, your truck comes raked, okay? Front down a little bit, rear up a little bit, okay? Stance wise. And if whatever you haul, if factory, it brings down the rear but still stays level, that's because the back comes down with the load X amount, 1 inch, ½ inch, maybe 1.5, whatever it comes down. I want to point out that whatever your truck sagged, factory ride height, your truck's going to sag the same after the lift kit. It's not because you lost load capacity, it's because you bring up the front to match the rear at a better stance. I'm going to point something out real quick here. I got a measurement of 23 inches. I measure from the cab pinch weld underneath the door here. Let me show you guys real quick. Open up the door, step comes down. You got a pinch weld right there. That's 23 inches from the ground to the pinch weld. In the rear of the cab, we've got 23.5 inches, okay? So the truck has a ½ inch rake to it right now. And if, let's say, this truck came down and sagged 1.5 inches before it was lifted, it's still gonna come down 1.5 inches with that same load. And because Brian doesn't want the back to come down, because he's got a heavy load on the back, he put airbags. So you could do airbags so you have a perfect stance all the time, or you can put the shims that come in the kit to raise the rear a little bit taller and have the back end a little higher, so then when you put any weight in the back, it still stays level, it doesn't go negative on it. So it's up to you. Either way, you can do whatever direction you want to go with. If you guys have any questions about this setup or something that is done to this truck and you want to know more about it because you want to do it to your truck, reach out to me. I am available through Instagram and through Facebook on our McGaughys business pages. I handle all the social media and the YouTube as well. You can comment on the YouTube, but it's hard to keep track of the comments just with the notification type scenario that they have on YouTube. And unfortunately, YouTube has no messaging system. I am mostly on the road, so I'm not easy to get a hold of inside the office. So the best way to get a hold of me is on social media through our McGaughys profiles. You can also call our facility and talk to any of our reps in the office. Myself or they will be able to connect you with a installer or authorized retailer so you can buy your McGaughys suspension and or have it installed, and they can answer your questions as well. But yeah, this is a really nice truck.
So I just want to say thank you to everyone that's been reaching out about these trucks and allowing us, McGaughys, whether it's myself or any of our other associates inside the office, to help them build their dream truck. We do have a lot higher lift kits, taller lift kits, that is on our website as well. We probably got to get more of those on our on our YouTube channel. We've been doing the best we can on them, but these have been popping up a lot. We came up with this kit back in mid 2023, or excuse me, was it 23? Yeah, give or take, maybe 24. It's only been out for probably about 2 years now. We were last to the table, to the market with a 4-inch kit for the HD truck. But guess what, guys? Because we were last, we were able to take our time and figure out what truck owners wanted the most out of the current 4-inch kits on the market. And we were able to articulate that into our own version 4-inch kit, which is what you have here. Real quickly, key features. Number 1, no front track width. Number 2, least amount of modifications to the frame. All we require is just a slight diff a recess on the frame. You don't have to notch or cut your torsion bar tunnel. You don't have to cut the front cross member for the cross member to bolt up to it. We just have the relief for the differential, and that's it. And then the other is our shocks, our M84 series shocks, whether they're the Reservoir or they're the emulsion shocks, are valved in-house. They're to our spec, and we build them and spec them to the seat of your pants performance for daily drivers and haulers and regular reasons why you have this type of truck. Our shop truck is just like a regular used truck for ourselves, so we're tuning it for that. We also have upper control arms. We have so many other options that you can add on to it as well, to upgrade it and make it look good, whether if you want just standard black. When I say look good, sometimes people want to add more flash to it. So we have some of that stuff as well. But if you guys have any questions, reach out to myself or any of our associates in the office. And as always, thank you for watching our videos. Thank you for choosing McGaughys and supporting our product. And we'll see you guys on the next build. Thanks, guys.